You never did nothing for my son. I'm the mother. I always did everything for my son. Only time he contact me is when he drunk and he want to have sex. We just had sex 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we was drunk.
Right, that's the only way you contact me.
Throughout this pregnancy, as you prepared for the birth of Giovanni, was Mr. Lee present?
No. He was telling people I was just getting fat. He was like, she just eats a lot of fat. Friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her. She's just fat.
You know how
So you were broken up or on a break. She was dating other people. You were dating
I wasn't dating nobody.
I can't say she was body, but I know we was both. I seen her at a party with a dude, and that was the last. That was a couple weeks before we got back together. That's the last thing I could say.
Ms. Bruton is dead sure that Mr. Martin isn't the daddy of her kiddo Logan, and she's betting all her chips on her ex, Mr. Richardson, being the real deal. She's convinced that today's DNA magic show will boot Mr. Martin to the curb and reignite the old flame with Mr. Richardson.
Ms. Bruton, you claim to be 100% positive that Mr. Martin is not your son's biological father because your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Richardson, is. You say today's DNA test allow you to get rid of Mr. Martin, finally reconcile your relationship with Mr. Richardson.
Mr. Martin isn't having any of it and flips the script, insisting that Ms. Bruton played him into thinking he was Logan's pops. He's all in, believing today's DNA reveal will crown him the father. Emotions are high, and stakes are higher for Mr. Martin as he awaits the results. Next up, grab your 3D glasses. The plot is about to jump out at you.
Mr. Martin, you say Ms. Bruton led you to believe that you had fathered her 7-month-old son, Logan. You claim Ms. Bruton kept the baby from you in hope that she could build a family with Mr. Richardson and not you. Today, you believe the DNA results prove you are the biological father.
Things heat up with a squabble about who Logan looks like more. Ms. Bruton stakes her claim on Mr. Richardson based on Logan's ears and nose. Mr. Martin counters with a calendar of their hookups, aiming to prove his paternity right there. The judge steps in to cut through the noise, highlighting the need for the DNA results to sort out this hot mess.
Logan looks just like Anthony. They have the same ears, eyes, nose. He don't favor Mr. Martin at all.
I know I had unprotected sex around the time that she conceived. She might many times she say I did, but I know 7%
No, Your Honor.
that it is.
We only had unprotected sex twice
Your Honor.
in my apartment.
It was 3 at her apartment, 2 at her family member house, 1 at my house, and 1 in the...
You know it only takes time anyway.
Yes.
During the pregnancy saga, and after Logan popped into the world, Ms. Bruton admits she cut Mr. Martin out completely, all the while cozying up with Mr. Richardson, who even signed the birth certificate at the hospital. This bombshell highlights the telenovela-level scheming and potential for a legal smackdown depending on the paternity test outcome.
Mr. Richardson was at the hospital. I have no idea where Mr. Martin was because we wasn't in contact with each other.
Who signed the birth certificate?
Mr. Richardson. I didn't even let Mr. Martin know when I had Logan because I wanted Mr. Richardson to know all of that. I didn't want because I don't want him to be Logan's father.
You allowed Mr. Richardson to sign the birth certificate because you think he's the father or because you hope he's the father?
I think he's the father and I'm hoping he's the father.
Oh.
Cue the dramatic music as the DNA results drop like a bomb.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Richardson, you are not father.
What?
Mr. Martin.
I told you.
What?
I told you.
Are the father.
Buckle up, folks. Judge Lake kicks off the session for the drama-packed case of Susie versus Payne, where Ms. Sousis has brought Mr. Payne to court. She accuses him and his meddling mother of denying paternity of her adorable 10-month-old, Aleliana. Ms. Sousis is adamant about getting Mr. Payne's name slapped on the birth certificate once the DNA confirms he's the dad. Keep your eyes peeled. It's just warming up.
Ms. Sousis, you have dragged it into court today because you say it's his mother's fault denying your 10-month-old daughter, Aleliana. You claim when the DNA results prove he is the father, you want the defendant's name added her birth certificate.
You won't believe this twist. Ms. Sousis spills the beans on their chaotic 3-year romance, blaming it on Mr. Payne's over-the-top jealousy and controlling vibes. As they air their dirty laundry, with Mr. Payne's sister, Henrietta, dipping in, it paints a sitcom-worthy picture of a super rocky relationship. Stick around, tea keeps spilling.
Why has this relationship on and off for 3 years?
So jealous and insecure about himself. Like, everywhere I go, he think I'm doing something. If I go to the store, I gotta be back in a certain time. Like, he's just crazy.
She been out there, Facebook messages.
You guys, they're both.
Of course I'm jealous. You were my boyfriend for like almost 3 years.
I would not be
You guys
jealous.
do the
She was
same
my
thing
girl.
to each.
Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Payne throws shade about not being Aleliana's real dad, pointing fingers at Ms. Sousis' shady escapades and a dodgy movie date with another dude right after they hooked up. The chat uncovers the unstable mess of their relationship and why Mr. Payne's got his doubt meter running high. And oh boy, just wait for what's next.
The first day after we started started talking. She went to the movies with some other guy. Facebook messages telling her ex she love him, this.
But the next day you did something with another girl and you was telling your ex you loved her, so what's the difference?
You lying in court.
Ms. Sousis, you did contact your ex?
Yeah, I said I care for him. I never said I love him. He told his ex he loved her, and I did go to the movies with a boy.
The tension's thick enough to cut with a knife. The convo shifts to when Ms. Sousis was preggers. There's a storm of doubts about daddy duties, pushing Mr. Payne to demand a DNA showdown, underlining the trust issues still at the next bit is key, so don't go anywhere.
I want to ask you to be there through a pregnancy if it's not your child.
But I was there through the pregnancy.
But you really weren't.
But I wasn't though, because you wanted to stay away.
There was a time when someone came up to me in a supermarket right to want a DNA test because she moves around. This lady she knows. I came home and told him.
Everybody got something to say about
Right, but I don't know the lady. You understand? So it's weird for someone to just come up to me out the blue. First of all, I'm like, how does she know about me wanting a DNA test?
Grab your tissues. Ms. Sousis gets real about the emotional roller coaster of raising Aleliana mostly solo, thanks to their never-ending bickering and Mr. Payne's hit-or-miss dad appearances. Their co-parenting drama could rival a soap opera, and it only gets more tear-jerking from here.
Even if it is his, like, it took you guys 10 months just to do this. Like,
you kept her away, though.
No, I did not.
Do that.
But
how did I keep her away?
He is there. He does.
But how did I keep her away?
I didn't do nothing at all. Got
you
it. Not even
you
knowing.
come in and out her life.
You come in and out her life. You did not want me around.
I did.
Let's get some order. Why so much anger? What is going on between the two?
Because they love each other.
Here's the scoop. They dive deep into Mr. Payne's trust issues, uncovering their on-off flings and side gigs during their breaks. This soap opera-worthy backstory adds layers to their complex love and the baby drama. Don't touch that dial. The truth bomb is about to drop.
We was both doing us before we got back together. I know how she moved. You know how.
So you were broken up or on a break. She was dating other people. You were dating.
I wasn't dating nobody.
I can't say she was body, but I know we was both. I seen her at a party with a dude, and that was the last. That was a couple weeks before we got back together. That's the last thing I could say.
Were you having sex during the breakup?
No, we don't talk to each other until we decide we miss each other. Then that's it. Then that's when we have sex.
Big reveal is here, people.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Payne, you are the father.
Thank you.
Happy. Now I'm happy. Now I could be happy.
Oh boy, here we go. At the start of the episode, Ms. Jones lays it all out, accusing Mr. Fowler of not owning up to being the dad of their 5-month-old son, Adonis. She talks about her tough childhood without a dad and is determined not to let Adonis go through the same. Just you wait, it gets juicier.
Ms. Jones, you say that you and Miss Fowler have a 2-year-old together, furious that he now denies fathering your 5-month-old son, Adonis. You grew up without your biological father, and you're here to save Adonis from what you went through as a child.
And here's Mr. Fowler, no stranger to the courtroom, facing yet another paternity claim. All in on denying he's the father of the younger kid, setting the stage for some serious courtroom drama. Buckle up, because this ride's about to get bumpy.
Mr. Fowler, this isn't your first time in my courtroom. And once again, a woman is accusing you of fathering her child. Do you believe you are Amira's father?
No, I do not.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Things are getting heated now. Ms. Jones is upset that Mr. Fowler treats their kids so differently. This bit digs deep into the messy emotions and tangled relationships. Oh, and there's more drama ahead.
Ms. Jones, you're furious. He accepts one child and not the other?
Like, every time he comes to see his 2-year-old son, he forgets about Adonis. Like, when other people get in his head, Adonis don't exist. But when we all alone, that's his son.
No, I don't believe it's my child, Your Honor. I don't.
You can't make this stuff up. During a fiery exchange, Ms. Jones and Mr. Fowler throw accusations about who's doing what for the kids. It's a hot mess, and their relationship sounds like a soap opera on steroids. You gotta see what's next.
You don't help him.
That's
you
a
never
lie,
did nothing for my son.
Lying.
I'm the
Stop
mother.
lying.
I always did everything for my son. Just like you never did nothing for Kimari.
Right, whatever.
Only time he contact me is when he drunk and he wanna have sex.
Whatever. This is a lie.
We just had sex 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we was drunk.
Right, that's the only way you contact me.
Wait for it. Mr. Fowler drops a truth bomb. He doesn't love Ms. Jones and doesn't want to be with her. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. But don't go anywhere. The emotional roller coaster's just picking up speed.
I don't love her. I don't want to be in a relationship with her.
This is exactly what I had to go through ever since Barbie was a baby. He brought other females around him.
Nah.
He had another female push my son in a stroller.
How many guys I coach with in your house, though?
And none of them I slept with.
Judge Lake steps in, trying to be the voice of reason in this emotional chaos. She gives Ms. Jones some tough love and advice about self-respect and parenting. Trust me, you'll want to hear what happens next.
So bottom of the barrel. Once he broke off the line, I don't love you. If I were you, I'd be here for my son. Now you can keep rolling around with him and having sex with him every 3 weeks and giving yourself, let you know that you don't mean anything to him, or you can follow my lead and let me lead you out this mess towards the truth and towards somewhere where you can become the respectable young lady and the mother you need to be.
This is a full-on confrontation. Both parties are forced to face the harsh truths about their toxic relationship, with Judge Lake highlighting the impact on their kids. Keep watching, because the twists keep coming.
Were you sleeping with one or two people?
I broke up with my other boyfriend and
It was more than 2 people, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones, you are saying...
How many kids do you have?
You had another boyfriend, but you broke up with him to be with Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
Lie. That's a lie.
No, it's not.
Let's get to the timeline. Say, Mr. Fowler, the dates ain't right. Let's get to the date.
Just when you think it can't get any crazier, more secrets spill out about their rocky relationship and questionable decisions. It's a wild ride of he said, she said, and the climax is just around the corner.
During that time, I've been telling him I was pregnant already because I get my period every first of the month.
Lie.
March 1st came, I did not get my period. We had sex again March 14th. I found out I was pregnant March 24th.
Lie. Me and her had sex the day of Valentine's Day. I went to her house, I dropped my son off, I stayed and I spent the night, and I left the next morning.
You're lying. You have sex with so many females, you don't even know who.
Whatever.
Get ready for the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Easy and simple.
Buckle up, folks. This is the introduction to the case of Brewington vs. Lee, where Ms. Brewington aims to prove that Mr. Lee is the biological father of her 3-year-old son, Giovanni. She claims that Mr. Lee has denied paternity to avoid paying child support. Just wait until you hear what comes next. It's a real doozy.
Ms. Brewington, you are here to prove your 3-year-old son, Giovanni, is Mr. Lee's biological child, and you claim Mr. Lee has been up to your son since the day he was born and is denying paternity because he wants to avoid paying child support.
Here's where it gets juicy. Mr. Lee expresses his doubts about being Giovanni's father, suspecting Ms. Brewington of lying and using him for financial gain. Ms. Brewington counters by asserting her certainty about Mr. Lee's paternity based on their exclusive relationship and attempts to reconcile. Strap in, because the roller coaster is just getting started.
You say you've known from day one Giovanni was not your son, and you are here to prove Ms. Brewington is a liar and has been using you for money.
You're not going to believe this bit. The couple recounts the time surrounding Giovanni's conception. Mr. Lee insists they were not intimate during this period, whereas Ms. Brewington claims they were living together and sharing a bed, suggesting intimacy likely. The plot thickens in the next segment. Don't miss it.
Not only was I only sleeping with him, we were actually working on our relationship situation. We got back together. We're working on us. So when I found out I was pregnant, I didn't think it was going to be a shock prize or anything like that.
At the time that Gio was conceived, we were not having no type of intercourse. We were not cool at the moment.
You don't believe you were working on the relationship time Giovanni was conceived?
No, not at all.
Your Honor, I was living with him.
Oh boy, here it comes. Ms. Brewington describes discovering her pregnancy during a routine visit for birth control, leading to disbelief and denial from Mr. Lee, despite multiple positive pregnancy tests. She emphasizes that the conception coincided with Valentine's Day, referring to Giovanni as a love baby. Hold on, because the next part is even more of a whirlwind.
Found out that I was pregnant. I actually went to the doctor to just re-up on my birth control. They said, oh, you actually missed your last shot. I didn't even realize that they said that they had to do a pregnancy test before they could go ahead with the birth control. It came up positive. I told him, he did not believe me at all. He went out and got 3 pregnancy tests, made me take all of them. They were all positive. And he was like, well, that's not my baby, because we didn't have sex.
Talk about a plot twist. As the birth of Giovanni approaches, Mr. Lee tells people Ms. Brewington is just gaining, not pregnant. Despite his initial denial, Mr. Lee shows up at the hospital post-birth, signs the birth certificate, and even names the child. The courtroom is about to get even wilder. Keep watching.
Throughout this pregnancy, as you prepare for the birth of Giovanni, was Mr. Lee present?
No. He was telling people I was just getting fat. He was like, she just eats a lot of fat. Friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her. She's just fat. The entire time. I'm talking about, I'm going into labor. He's like, no, you're not.
What kind of denial is this? Mr. Lee, you taking denial too far.
Exactly.
Get ready for more fireworks. Court delves into the implications of Mr. Lee signing the birth certificate despite his denials and misunderstandings about his legal responsibilities as a father, which he did not fully comprehend. The next revelation is going to blow your socks off.
I figured when I signed it, I knew she was going to put me on child support. With the previous child that we had, I had to do a DNA test at the child support service. I figured if I sign it, they're going to take me right off after I do this. And then they said, no, we don't do a DNA because you already signed the birth certificate.
She
kept saying, not the case.
We
They told me right away we don't.
You gonna learn making babies in the country and don't know the law. Because once you sign that birth certificate, you're the legal father.
And now, the grand finale.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lee, you are not the father.
Told you.
Hold up.
I already knew. I told you.
Can you believe the drama just started? Right off the bat, the case kicks off with the juicy premise Ms. Livingston is stirring the pot big time. She's here to prove that her ex-hubby, Mr. Livingston, isn't the father of her 21-month-old cutie pie, Jordan. Instead, she's pointing fingers at Mr. Dorschlag, her former flame. Oh boy, you gotta see what's coming up next.
Ms. Livingston, you've petitioned this for a DNA test on your 21-month-old daughter, Jordan. Prove to your now husband, Mr. Livingston, that he is not Jordan's biological father.
Just when you thought it couldn't get spicier, Mr. Livingston isn't just sitting back, he's firing back, suggesting his ex is only denying his daddy status because she's got a thing for her old beau, Mr. Dorschlag. He's on a mission to prove he's the real papa. Buckle up because the roller coaster is just getting going.
Mr. Livingston, you claim that the only reason your ex is denying you are the father is because desperately wants to have a relationship with her ex-friend, Mr. Dorschlag, the man your ex-wife claims to be Jordan's biological father. So Mr. Dorschlag is waiting in the hallway and we will hear from him shortly.
This part's a real doozy. Ms. Livingston spills the tea on the whole baby-making timeline. She admits to juggling romances with both gents around baby Jordan's conception time. Then, plot twist. As Jordan ditches her dark locks for blonde hair, Ms. Livingston's suspicion grows because Mr. Dorschlag is the blonde bombshell in this saga. Hang tight. The next part is a jaw-dropper.
Around the time of conception, I had sex with another man.
But did you also have sex with Mr. Livingston? Why is it you believe that other man is your child's father?
My daughter, when she was born, she looked a lot like Mr. Livingston. She had dark hair and she had some of his facial features, but as she got older, she got blonde hair. Neither Mr. Livingston nor I have hair, but Mr. Dorschlag started to look a lot like Mr. Dorschlag.
Grab your popcorn. Here comes the sneak peek. Mr. Livingston does some Facebook sleuthing and discovers Ms. Livingston has been chatting up Mr. Dorschlag about potentially ditching him. Yikes! She's talking about making Mr. Dorschlag the new daddy figure. This tea just keeps getting hotter. Wait till you see the next bit.
And Mr. Livingston saw those messages on Facebook, and that was while I was
only
6 months
after I
pregnant.
had to go through her phone, through her Facebook app, to find out she was planning on leaving me for him.
We hadn't had the baby yet, Your Honor, and no, I did not going to leave Mr. Dorschlag. I said I'm married. He is my child's father.
Cue the dramatic entrance. Mr. Dorschlag steps into the courtroom, rocking the boat by hinting he might just be the daddy after all, thanks to some striking similarities between his baby pics and Jordan's. Despite never meeting the kiddo, he's kept tabs through photos. Hold on to your seats because the truth bomb is about to drop.
Yes,
do you believe you are this child's biological father?
Your Honor, in a way, I do believe it because the eye color and the hair color of the kid. I have sat down and looked at my previous baby pictures and baby pictures of Jordan. I have came to the conclusion because of the hair color and the eye color, we do look similar.
That's exactly how I feel.
Here it comes, the moment of truth.
It has been determined by this court. Her biological father is Mr. Livingston.
I just wanted to know for sure.
So, here's the scoop. Ms. Sanders, you kinda let another dude sign the birth certificate of your 6-month-old Caleb. Plot twist, now you're saying the real dad is Mr. Jamarvis Brady standing right there. Yes, Your Honor. And boom, she's hit the court with a DNA test request to prove Mr. Brady is Caleb's pops. Hold on to your popcorn, folks.
Ms. Sanders, you admit to having another man sign your 6-month-old son Caleb's birth certificate, but now say that Caleb's real biological father is the defendant, Mr. Jamarvis Brady. Court for a DNA test to prove that Mr. Brady is your son's father.
Ms. Sanders spills the beans. Mr. Brady hasn't done diddly squat for Caleb since he was born. It's been all on her. Baby food, diapers, you name it, she bought it. And that stuff ain't cheap. Does he even visit the kiddo? Hang tight, because Mr. Brady's about to drop his side of the story.
No, he has not done anything, Your Honor. I had to get Caleb baby food. I had to get him diapers, clothes, everything. That is not cheap. Came through the neighborhood one day,
reason why
and he asked me if he could see my baby.
Why take care of a baby that's not mine? I don't care about the baby being pretty. I care about if the baby mine or not. I take care of my responsibility, not another man.
Here comes the eye color drama. Mr. Brady doubts he's the father because of Caleb's green peepers. Nobody in his fam has them. Exhibit A. His entire lineage apparently missed the memo on green eyes. Oh, and the crowd's getting a good laugh. But wait, there's a plot twist with Ms. Sanders' eyes coming right up.
The first thing is the green eyes. No one in my family has green eyes. May I show you, Your Honor? Starting with my grandparents. My grandma don't have green eyes. My granddaddy don't got green eyes. My mama or my daddy. I'm trying to figure out where these green eyes come from that's on this baby, because it ain't my family.
It's getting real. Mr. Brady and Ms. Sanders are airing out their dirty laundry. Breakups, makeups, and baby drama. Oh, and Mr. Brady's been sulking because Ms. Sanders bounced back to her ex. The saga continues, and Ms. Sanders' mom is about to step into the ring to throw some punches, verbally.
He saying he don't want me, but he constantly texts my phone, somebody, so what's up?
I come to the house, dudes coming and going all the time. Like, I left her house.
I left her house coming and going, but you
I left her the house and the dude.
So you telling me that if you see somebody with your girlfriend, you ain't gonna get mad and try to fight?
My girl. We was broken up.
So you ain't gonna get mad and try to fight? Stories are not matching up. It don't make no sense.
If I was to see...
Enter stage left, Ms. Durham, Ms. Sanders' mama, ready to set the record straight. She's been picking up Mr. Brady's slack, buying all things baby. And just when Mr. Brady thinks it's all about the potential, Ms. Durham is about to give him a reality check. Fasten your seatbelts. The DNA results are coming up faster than you can say Maury Povich.
This is my first time ever seeing him. Since Caleb's been born, myself and my husband step up. We buy this baby everything when she needs help. We step up. I called Mr. Brady and I said, this is ridiculous. Caleb is 6 months old. You're gonna step up. When are you gonna participate in raising your son?
That's what the dad's for. I'm not.
Yeah, but
I'm not taking care
well,
of
you just said all she is my potential child's mother.
Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this Mr. Brady. You are not.
I told her that.
Sit down.
I told her.
Sit down over there.
Kayla just told me that you had sex with her. And the only reason why I denied it to him was because his grandfather was sick. He sits here and says he had no idea.
Why did you say this after my grandfather was sick? You didn't sleep together until my father died.
But,
I went over there to see her. I got zero spiritual energy. I looked at her, don't look like me. She don't look like my sister.
All children don't have to look like father. They can look like me. They can look like the grandma. You don't know. It could be a visual of both of us. It's not all.
The question of paternity is not being brought up anymore. We ended up deciding to spice up our sex life. Female threesome with him. So he got to pick another woman. It was maybe a couple weeks later it got brought up. It'd only be if we had a male, and you. So I said, okay.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Judge Lake kicks off the show with the case of Brooks versus Page. Ms. Brooks claims she was all set to start a family with Mr. Page, but now he's backing out, saying, nope, not my circus, not my monkey. Mr. Page points fingers at another guy, Tony Wilson, claiming he's the dad because of some iffy Facebook posts. You've got to see what's next. It's a real soap opera.
Ms. Brooks, you state, after getting out of a 9-year relationship, you fell in love with Mr. Page, a younger man who you say swept you off your feet. You claim both you and Mr. Page plan to have a child together, but since giving birth to your son, Ivion, Mr. Page is now denying the child you so desperately wanted to have with him.
Just when you thought it was a regular Tuesday, Mr. Page is adamant that Tony Wilson is the daddy, thanks to some shady social media shenanigans. Ms. Brooks is like, nah, he's just a buddy, despite some cozy pics online. Stick around, it's about to get juicier than a reality TV show finale.
Mr. Page, you state you know the child isn't yours because Ms. was having an ongoing affair with another man by the name of Tony Wilson. You say Mr. Wilson, who is also claims to be the father of her son and has even posted pictures on social media to that effect.
Grab your popcorn. The couple spills the tea on their rocky romance. Ms. Brooks talks about constant bickering, how Mr. Page doubts he's the father, all because she hangs out with Wilson. Ooh, the drama. You won't believe what they say next. It's a real head spinner.
Right now, our relationship is on the rocks. We really have no relationship. All we do is fuss and fight. He's denying.
Because every time I come from work, she out with Mr. Wilson. So I don't know what she's doing at work. When I'm at work, she calls me, and I'm at work, I call her. Don't pick up, don't nothing. I call everybody that she hangs around with, they won't. So to me, I think she tells them not to pick up the phone.
Things are heating up now. They dive deeper into why Mr. Page is freaking out over being a dad, bringing up Ms. Brooks's past relationship with a woman and some sneaky texts. Buckle up, because we're about to dive into some evidence that'll make your head spin. Can you handle what's coming? Judge Lake gets down to business with Mr. Page's so-called proof, which is basically just a bunch of photos that scream, it's complicated. Both sides have a lot to say about these snapshots. Keep your eyes peeled, because Mr. Wilson's about to crash the party.
It stimulates from the paternity issues, because first, when we first got together, it was lovely. When I first was pregnant, he did everything good, during the pregnancy, and then everything changed.
What changed is her not being home when I come home at night, her and my son being around Mr. Wilson, her friend. That's what it comes from.
That I was in a 9-year relationship was a female.
Oh boy, here comes the witness. Mr. Wilson steps up to explain he's just the godfather, not the bio dad. Mr. Page isn't buying it though, highlighting all he does for the kiddo. Fasten your seatbelts. This clash is about to reach new heights.
Well, I'll be honest, that's my godson. You know, I treat him like my son. I love him. On my lunch breaks, I stop past Sam, I spend time with him, take him to the park.
That's a lie.
How would that be a lie? You never there. You too busy playing the game, chilling with your homeboys and friends.
Why do you say he's lying?
I'm from Glen Burnie, Your Honor. We live in Baltimore. I don't have no homeboys and friends.
Did he just say that? Turns out, Mr. Wilson's been playing pretend daddy to everyone who'll listen. This revelation stirs up a storm of betrayal and confusion. You won't want to miss what's coming. coming. The DNA bombshell is up next.
It was this girl I was dealing with to make her mad and make her jealous because she had issue Miss Brooks because her hair was long, fingernails, she has on press-ons. I was just making her be jealous. But due to social media is something else. Let me tell you. She put all my business up. I think Santa Claus even know about the situation. But the only person I spoke with was the female that I was dealing with, which was my ex.
This is it, the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Wilson, you are not the father.
Told you. Told you.
Just when you think your love life is complicated, Nadeau drops the bomb that she's tangled up with not one, but two lifelong best friends. She's completely clueless about who fathered her 2-year-old son, Cameron, causing all kinds of drama and confusion. Stick around, because the tea is just starting to spill.
Ms. Nadeau, you are caught in the middle of 2 lifelong best friends because you slept with them both and now have no idea which is 2-year-old Cameron's biological father.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Mr. Santilli spills his guts about the heart-shattering. He found out about Miss Nadeau's Christmas Eve betrayal. The revelation shattered his world and put his friendship on the line. And guess what? It's only going to get messier from here.
Now, Mr. Santilli, you admit it's taken you years to mend your broken heart since Miss Nadeau revealed to you Christmas Eve she'd slept with your best friend. Furthermore, you say she then dropped the bomb that may instead be your son's biological father. That news, you say, has devastated you beyond.
As if things weren't spicy enough, we dive into the backstory of Miss Nadeau's dramatic breakup with Mr. Santilli, filled with emotional mind games and the tragic passing of a close relative. She sets the stage for a rebound with Mr. Zara. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next.
His grandfather was sick and passing away. He decided in a text message he was going to tell me that I was too good for him. As much as I tried to stop him, he left anyway. So I continued to go and see his grandfather while he's in the nursing home getting sicker, starting to pass away. The day he passed away was the day his best friend told me that really he had broken up with me. Girl upstairs.
Can you believe this? Right after the funeral of Mr. Santilli's grandfather, Miss Nadeau and Mr. Zara find comfort in each other's arms. Yep, that happened. Buckle up, because this roller coaster is about to go off the rails.
The first time me and Mrs. Zara slept together was the day he passed away, the day grandfather passed away.
You don't really know who the father is. I always thought there was a code that, if you have a best friend, they don't sleep with your girl or any you dated. Look, unless it's been years or you get prior approval.
Enter Mr. Zara. He comes into the courtroom and throws another curveball by saying Mr. Santilli practically gave him the green light to go after Miss Nadeau. The plot thickens, and oh boy, you're not ready for what's next.
At first, I did not believe the child was mine. No, I denied it to the fullest, yes.
Hey. At his house, he said, yo, bro, Kayla just told me that you had sex with her. And the only reason why I denied it to him was because his grandfather was sick. He sits here and says he had no idea.
How did you say this after my grandfather was sick? You didn't sleep together until my father died.
But,
And just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, real drama starts. Both men are head over heels, thinking they might be Cameron's dad. They're both hooked, emotionally vested. And boy, the upcoming twist is a doozy.
So at what point did you come to believe this is mine?
After a few weeks of both of them promising that months of them promising that the kid
I was about
mine.
5 or 6 months pregnant, and he texted me and said that he wanted something to do with the baby and that he wanted to try to be together for him.
During the birth of the child, which one was with you?
I was there. Here's a picture of me in the hospital the day he was born.
Hold on to your socks, because they're about to get knocked off. After Mr. Santilli lands in jail, the relationship dynamics take a wild turn with Miss Nadeau and Mr. Zara. It's a full-on soap opera, and the next scene is a cliffhanger.
So the next morning after you went to jail from this incident,
he took up his role as the child's father.
This is the first picture of Tom and Cameron together. I came out and said that, the baby's Tom's. That's what I believe now. He showed up. It was the day after Christmas Day, and he said, if he's my son, I want to do what I have to do to take care of him.
The moment of truth is here. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court that Cameron's biological father is Mr. Santilli.
You won't believe this one. Ms. Rose kicks things off by demanding a DNA test for Mr. Jefferson and his buddy Mr. Power, because surprise, both could be daddy to her 3-year-old mini-me. Sire, fasten your seatbelts, because we're just revving up.
Ms. Rose, you asking the court for DNA tests on 2 men. Your on-again, off-again boyfriend, Mr. Jefferson, his good friend, Mr. Power, who is waiting inside of the courtroom. Both men, you say, possibly be father of your 3-year-old son, Sire.
Just when you think it's all about baby drama, Ms. Rose throws in a zinger. She's accusing Mr. Jefferson of trashing her rep all over town, from church to the supermarket. You've got to stick around because the gossip gets juicier.
Now, Ms. Rose, you're also suing Mr. Jefferson $5,000 for defamation of character. You claim he's ruined your reputation at church, your job, and with your entire circle of friends. Now, Mr. Jefferson, you say you not only question the paternity of a 3-year-old son, but you are also asking for the results of a DNA test on your 2-year-old son, Zayden, as well.
Hold on to your popcorn. Mr. Jefferson isn't just doubting daddy duties for sire. He's also side-eyeing Zayden's paternity. He's convinced Ms. Rose has been playing musical chairs with their love life. Oh boy, wait till you hear what's next.
You claim Ms. Rose is a known cheater who has slept with your good friend and many others. Therefore, you doubt everything she says.
He definitely has this issue and constantly telling me that I'm so beautiful and he's not, and he's jealous of me and thinks that he's gonna lose me, and I'm constantly cheating on him, and it's just insanity.
And the truth comes out. Ms. Rose spills the beans about her tangled love web, admitting she juggled both Mr. Jefferson and Mr. Power simultaneously for a hot minute before the pregnancy news hit. The plot thickens, so don't go anywhere.
I met Michael first, was sleeping with him. We were kind of together, but not very serious. He fell in love with someone, moved on, and then I ended up with Kenneth. There was a point where I was sleeping with both of them at the same time. Then later, that probably went on for a good month. Then I ended up getting more serious with him. Actually, I stopped seeing Michael, committed to Kenneth, and then I ended up pregnant about 2.5 weeks later.
Enter Mr. Power. Stage right. He strides into the courtroom to share his 2 cents, confirming his fling with Ms. Rose and fretting over potentially being Sire's dad. The tension's rising, and the next twist is a doozy.
You believe that you potentially could be Sire's father.
I met Alicia at a bar. Within 2 hours, we were back at her house having unprotected sex. We hooked up multiple times. You don't know, brother. She's just a bad person. I just
that you keep sleeping with.
Brace for impact. Judge Lake tackles the defamation claim, schooling everyone on what counts as slander and what's just chit-chat. The gavel comes down, don't wander off. The DNA results are up, and they're mind-blowing.
If you have slept around with men and you live a lifestyle where you choose to sleep, can't then claim defamation of character if somebody then talks about you. Say your whole life has been ruined, but I haven't heard anything where you've lost a job or lost something.
Here comes the big reveal. Drum roll, please.
Mr. Jefferson, you are the father.
Buckle up, folks. We kick things off with the juicy court case of Garrett versus Boyer. Ms. Garrett is here, all guns blazing, to prove that Mr. Boyer is indeed biological dad of her adorable 2-year-old Naomi. She's not just here for the drama, she's on a mission. Stick around because this roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Ms. Garrett, you are here on a mission today to that the defendant, Mr. Boyer, the biological father of your 2-year-old daughter, Naomi. You say that after a month of non-stop, unprotected sex with the defendant, you are 100% sure they fathered your child.
Oh boy, didn't see that coming. Mr. Boyer throws a curveball by totally denying he's Naomi's father, saying he only got wind of her a couple of months ago. His cool denial adds some serious spice to the mix. Just wait till you hear what's up next.
Mr. Boyer, you say there's no way you could be the biological father of Miss Garrett's baby. Her child is 2 years old and you learned of Naomi 2 months ago.
Cue the awkwardness. Things get a tad uncomfortable as Garrett and Mr. Boyer hash out their past fling, which was, let's just say, less than fairy tale-like. They admit it was all about the bada bing, beta boom. The plot thickens, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for the sizzle that's coming up.
It takes 2 to tango. Both wrong. We both did what we did, and the result to what the fact that we did, we created a beautiful baby girl. And I just need to clarify to him that she is his. Because if the fact that when the test results come that she is his, he will take care of my daughter. He will be responsible. Because if not, I have no problem with taking him to court at all.
Here comes the TMI train. Choo-choo. Ms. Garrett openly admits to their month-long bedroom rodeo, which Mr. Boyer isn't fully buying. This juicy bit lays bare the root of their paternity pickle. Hang tight, because there's more eyebrow-raising stuff on the way.
And we had 31 days of sex, unprotected.
Straight of unprotected sex? I'm not gonna say that deserves a round of applause, even though you got one. You all were working real hard making a child, because you weren't using protection.
No, we was not.
Talk about dodging the question. Mr. Boyer sorta admits there was some action, but not the marathon Ms. Garrett is talking about. This half admission throws a little gas on the fire, making the need for a DNA test super obvious. Keep watching. The next bit is a doozy.
You admit you were in this sexual relation, or did you believe she was having sex with other people?
No, I was never under the impression that it was only me. It was 2 easy for it to be only me. I never wanted to put her under the wing like fried rice, though. She was just part of the plate, like, temporarily, not to take home and put in the microwave.
Under the wing like fried rice?
I never wanted to put her under the wing like fried rice, no.
Man plot twist. The soap opera spirals as Ms. Garrett reveals she initially thought another dude was the dad due to their timing. This revelation throws another potential daddy into the chaos. The next revelation is just as juicy, so don't go anywhere.
After our sexual relationship was over, I wound up dating another guy. Me and him was consistent. Automatically the other gentleman's baby. So
you started dating somebody new, thought it was his child. So you told him, I'm pregnant.
Yes.
Was he happy about it?
Yes, he was.
So you told him you were pregnant and you never to notify Mr. Boyer?
No.
And here comes the skepticism train, full steam ahead. Mr. Boyer meets little Naomi and feels zilch, nada, no daddy vibes at all. This crucial moment really cranks up his doubt to level 100. But stick around, the next part is even more jaw-dropping.
She asked me to try to be around, you know, try to get to know Naomi a little bit. I went over there to see her. I got zero spiritual energy. I looked at her, don't look like me. She don't look like my sister. I don't know, maybe the eyes, but that's about it. I don't see any resemblance there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
All children don't have to look like father. They can look like me. They can look like the grandma. You don't know who to look like. It could be a visual of both of us. It's not all.
You might want to sit down for this. The judge lays down the law with DNA proof that the other guy is not the father. Now it's really crunch time for Mr. Boyer, and the air is thick with anticipation. The big reveal is up next, and it's a humdinger.
And so the DNA test revealed the man that you were sure was Naomi's biological father was
100%.
in fact not her biological father.
I have it with me, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it. So this is a copy of the paternity results, and there's a 0% probability of paternity regarding the other potential.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here it is, the big kahuna, grand finale.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Boyer, you are not the father.
Brace yourself, folks. Everyone's told to park it because the show is starting. Hellos are thrown around the courtroom, and the title bout, Strempke versus Jaramillo, is on the marquee. It's about Ms. Strempke dragging Mr. Jaramillo into court, because oh boy, the family drama is peaking due to some major daddy doubts that are tossed out there. And just when you thought your family reunions were rough, check out what's next.
Ms. Strempke, you've dragged Mr. Jaramillo to court in hopes of saving your family, which you claim is falling apart due to paternity denial. You say the defendant paternity for both of your daughters, 4-year-old Naviana and 8-month-old Elect, but you want to prove that he is their father.
Hold the phone. Did he just say that? Mr. Jaramillo drops a bombshell about his doubts on being the daddy, claiming he was an eyewitness to some suspicious shenanigans make him question the whole fatherhood gig. He's pretty adamant that without DNA proof, this family picture might as well be a sketch. Fasten your seatbelts. It gets bumpier from here.
Mr. Jaramillo, you claim doubt is valid because you were present when another man impregnated Ms. Strempke. Family you thought you were building is not salvageable until you have DNA proof.
Grab some tissues. This one's a tearjerker. Mrs. Strempke spills the beans on how the paternity mess is messing with their kiddos, especially 4-year-old Naviana, who's starting to side-eye her dad, wondering if he's really the guy. She lays it all out, painting a picture of a home where doubt is part of the decor. You'll want to stick around for the next bit. It's a doozy.
Your Honor, I feel like my family is falling apart because my daughters are growing up how I had to. We didn't have both parents present at different times. We were denied. I feel like they can't trust their dad because he denies that he's their dad at the time. And my 4-year-old Naviana knows. She can hear the, well, I'm not her dad anyway. And it just gives her doubt. And when she looks at her dad, there's not going to be respect there.
Talk about a plot twist. They met as teens in a lockup, which sounds like the start of a bad rom-com, right? Ms. Strempke digs into their rocky start and how it's haunting their present. It's a saga of bad timing and tough breaks, all wrapped up in a not-so-fairy tale romance. Don't go anywhere. The story takes a wild turn next.
We met very young. I was 13. We met in a lockup facility we were both staying at. We had no choice. We didn't have childhoods at all, so we had to stay there. I see it now, and I don't go down that road to where they have to go through what we did.
2 children and your family on the line, I understand that.
Okay, who had this on their bingo card? The talk turns to the sticky topic of paternity tests. Ms. Strempke admits to past liaisons, throwing Mr. Jaramillo's fatherhood into question. He explains why he signed the birth certificate. It was a total hallmark moment. But hold on to your popcorn. This drama isn't cooling down yet.
I was upfront with told you that there was one other person before we had gotten together.
You said one other, and then came another fellow that your best friend told me about.
I had never slept with anybody but one person besides you, and that was before we had gotten together.
Did you ever attempt to have a paternity test back then?
No, Your Honor, because every time I brought it up, it was always, oh, I know she's mine. I know she's mine. I mean, I have right here.
Can't make this stuff up. They decided to add some zest to their love life with a threesome, which just complicates things further regarding little Alexis's daddy drama. They unpack this choice and its aftermath, showing just how tangled things can get when you throw extra people into the mix. What happens happens next? You guessed it, more chaos.
It ended up an actual conversation where I was, okay, well, it wouldn't be the worst thing because we're getting along really well. The question of paternity is not being brought up anymore. We ended up deciding to like spice up our sex life and everything, and we ended up having female threesome with him, so he got to pick another woman. It was what it was. We did it. It was maybe a couple weeks later it got brought up. It'd only be if we had a male, and you. So I said, okay.
Phew, finally some answers. Judge Lake rolls out the DNA results, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jaramillo, you are the father.
So, here we go. Curtain rises on quite the courtroom drama. The case of Kennedy versus Pope kicks off with the judge laying down the welcome mat. He greets everyone in his usual style, and we're all set to dive into a paternity mystery involving Mr. Kennedy, Ms. Pope, and a little one named Christian. Grab your popcorn, because this is just the warm-up act.
Mr. Kennedy, you claim to be a nice guy who was to make the tough decision to drag the defendant to court, prove you did not father her 3-month-old son, Christian.
Oh boy, here it gets spicy. Ms. Pope and her mom are throwing some serious shade, insulted that Mr. Kennedy is denying he's the baby daddy. Ms. Pope is all fired up, demanding that he take responsibility after their fling. And guess what? The tea is about to get even hotter.
Ms. Pope, you and mother are insulted that Mr. Kennedy denied paternity and refused to acknowledge your child. You say he laid down with you and now he has stepped up and paid.
Hold on to your seats, folks. Mr. Kennedy spills the beans on why he thinks Ms. Pope is pinning the baby on him. He paints a picture of their casual fling turning into this court drama, insisting it was all chill and no strings attached. Oh, but keep your eyes peeled. The plot thickens in a minute.
I believe she's just looking for someone to pin it on or pick up the slack for her previous, encounter.
And so, take me back to the nature of your relationship.
It started off as just friends. We met through a mutual friend. It got physical once got to know each other.
So did you all enter into a committed relationship? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
I would say briefly.
And the saga continues. Ms. Pope reminisces about the good old days when Mr. Kennedy was the all-American charmer, which, spoiler alert, didn't last long. She dishes on how things went south after they got cozy, setting the stage for their current courtroom clash. Don't touch that dial, because it's about to get even juicier.
We did get along in the beginning, but he was a jerk, and I no longer wanted to be around that.
Why were you sleeping with him if he was a jerk?
He came off as an all-American guy in the beginning. We had a lot of things in common. We had the same birthday, the same football team.
The bottom line is you all got along in the beginning, and you started a sexual relationship with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Things are heating up. We shift gears to when Ms. Pope figured out she was expecting, and Mr. Kennedy's jaw-dropping reaction, or lack thereof. She details how she broke the news and his lukewarm response, ramping up the tension. Stick around, because you won't want to miss what's coming up next.
My version is we were in the beginning, but then it became friends with benefits, kind of a ordeal. Yes,
But
Your
you
Honor.
were having a sexual relationship,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you were not using protection?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Pope, at some point you say the tables start to turn.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because he accuses you of having feelings for your ex?
That's not even remotely true. The reason why she didn't have a GED, she didn't have a future plan.
Cue the dramatic music. Mr. Kennedy talks about getting the bombshell via Facebook after the baby arrived, which was his first clue he might be a dad. Yep, you heard that right. Facebook. This modern twist to the paternity puzzle adds a whole layer of what the heck. Stay tuned, because the surprises are far from over.
Through Facebook, I got messages.
She did not tell you she even had the baby until after the baby was born.
Yes,
I
Your
had
Honor.
messaged him the night
And you
that I
get
went into
some
labor.
messages. I've been trying to get a hold of you. I wanted to call you and talk. Reply about. She replies, would you like to guess? And then you reply, no. And then Ms. Pope says, okay, well, I'm not sure how to say this, so I'll just show you. And you send a picture of the baby.
Yes, it looks just like him.
Guess who decided to make a visit? Mr. Kennedy finally goes to see baby Christian for the first time, trying to spot any family resemblances. He's looking for any sign that might link him to the kiddo, all while wrestling with his feelings about the whole mess. And oh boy, get ready for the big reveal soon.
I took a, 6-hour trip out of my day to go up and actually see the child with my own eyes, just to make sure I didn't get anything until after the child was born.
So when you took the time and went up to see Christian, what happened?
Just held him for a while, trying to gather, anything, kids or anything like that, find any similarities between him and I, and that was basically it.
And boom goes the dynamite.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Kennedy, you are the father.
I named him.
Why would I give him your last name if I let you name him?
I wrote the whole thing down. Why would I give him my name and my brother's name together and not give him my last name? She wanted me to leave because she was on the phone with her boyfriend.
Right now, it's understandable, but I'm gay, so I can't be the father.
Well, that would be a material fact.
I
thought he was a regular friend of hers that was the gay friend. Now I believe he's a bisexual friend.
I left for one night. I came back. The next morning, she was begging me to come back. There was a hickey on her neck about the size of a baseball. She said that her dog had jumped off the bed and hit her, the nose of her dog hit her in the neck.
Ms. Short just dropped a bombshell. She's here because her first crush, Mr. Johnson, doesn't believe he's the dad of her 21-month-old munchkin Jabari. She's juggling being a teen mom and is totally over it, demanding Mr. Johnson to man up already. Mr. Johnson's playing it cool, saying, nope, not doing anything till DNA says daddy. Stick around, it's just heating up.
You and your mother opened your case today because First Love, the defendant, fathered your 21-month-old son. You are a single teenage mother who needs help and you demand step up and be a father. You are in court with your mother and say you might have been plaintiff's first love, but you weren't anything for her son until the DNA results prove.
Oh boy, grab your popcorn. Ms. Short's spilling the tea on needing Mr. Johnson to step into the dad shoes because, well, her boy needs a dad. Amid her teary plea and the classroom drama vibes, she lays out how tough school plus mom life is. The drama's real, folks, and it's only going to get juicier from here.
He's the father of my son, and my son as a boy need a father figure, and I need extra help like while I'm in school.
She just need to know, is he the father? So he can step up and do the right thing, hopefully. You know, we can't make him. We need to know, because I did him for coming over because I didn't want no feelings to get involved.
Now here's a backstory to munch on. They met on Facebook. Yep, modern love, right? Mr. Johnson was her first everything. Kiss, boyfriend, you name it. Then boom, she's pregnant, and Mr. Johnson is eyeing someone else. Ms. Short then meets another guy. Plot twist. Right after Mr. Johnson bails.
Me and Mr. Johnson had sex April 23rd. I seen him on Facebook with another female, and he was like, I don't want you, I want her. He was talking about the other female. And I was like, he just left me. After that happened, it was May 3rd. I went out to eat with some friend, met the other boy. And this not my first time meeting, but this the first time we ever had sex.
Wait for it. Mr. Johnson was clueless about the baby. For a hot minute, found out 6 months in and was ready to do the dad thing. But then the rumor mill started churning about another potential deity. And Mr. Johnson's like, hold up, what? The plot thickens, my friends, and it's about to go down.
I found out she was pregnant 6 months into her pregnancy. She told my mom and dad she was pregnant. I could be the father. So at the time, I'm thinking that the baby's mine. I got her friends coming to me, talking to me about the other dude. So you know how they making me feel? I was there to see the baby conceive. I was the one that had the baby. I was there. When she called me and asked me for stuff, I was there to help her.
Here comes the struggle bus. Ms. Short talks about how tough it's been flying solo with baby Jabari. No thanks to Mr. Johnson's missing in action wallet. Family tensions are high and the financial squeeze is on. It's a roller coaster of emotions and wallet woes. Don't touch that dial. The drama dial is about to go up a notch.
He don't pay child support for none of his.
And I didn't go.
It was a point in time where her mama would get into our arguments and tell me not to come back to the house. None of that. If I come over there, she's gonna call the police. That's why I stayed distant.
He had another family member that wasn't even around when this happened, but he knows about everything. How do he know about everything?
Get ready for a head spinner. Court's in deep now, chatting about who did what and when, making heads or tails of when Jabari might have been conceived. It's a timing puzzle with a side of Maury vibes. Everyone's on edge, and the truth is just moments away. Next up, the moment we've all been waiting for.
So when the baby was born, Mr. Johnson, were you there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor, I was finna, but I didn't have my ID to sign the birth certificate.
And he wasn't gonna sign nothing until we found out the truth. But I felt like they came back when I had him to see did he look like Mr. Johnson. I don't want to go.
And now, the moment of truth. Drum roll, please. But like a funny one. The DNA results are in. And guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Miss Powell kicks things off by claiming Mr. Tarver is the pops of her 19-month-old little dude, Joshan. She's here to prove he's the daddy. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Ms. Poe, you've petitioned the court paternity test to prove to Mr. Tarver that he is your 19-month-old son's father. Mr. Tarver, you say your defense in court is simple. You are not Joshan's father, and you will prove that today.
Well, twist my arm, why don't ya? Mr. Tarver comes out swinging, totally denying he's the father. He's all set to prove he's not Joshan's dad, while Miss Powell's not having any of it. Frustrated, he hasn't even coughed up for diapers.
He ain't did nothing. He ain't bought a diaper. He ain't bought him a shoe. He ain't bought him a shirt. He don't do anything for my son.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm dead serious. He don't do anything for him. Call him once in a while.
Call him every day. I don't see him at least 3-4 times a week.
That's not being a father.
I don't call him every.
Every time he asks, I let him see my son. If I have to go all the way to him, I take him to my son because I don't want my son without father.
And you say he's denying him.
Absolutely.
Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Tarver spills the beans on their party-heavy lifestyle, hinting hinting that maybe, just maybe, Miss Powell wasn't all that faithful. She, of course, calls BS on this. Strap in, it's a bumpy ride to the next scene.
We're young and we wild, you know, and we party a lot. And you know, there was stuff going on around them times involved in parties and sleepovers and other people, period. And she have admitted in the past, but nowadays she'll say it's not true. So when you didn't leave me and go lay with somebody else?
No, I didn't.
The night that you told me you were.
Carver was when I got there.
5 hours.
The girl was
5 blocks
there.
away. It take 3 hours to pull over 3 dudes in the car.
There was another girl.
Oh boy, here comes the he said, she said mess. They dive into when Miss Powell got pregnant and things get muddy with mismatched dates and confused timelines. She tries to set the record straight, but Tarver isn't buying what she's selling. Just wait, it gets even messier.
When she first got pregnant, she came and told me she was 2 months pregnant. Time went on, about 2-3 months had passed, and she come back and tell me she's 2 months pregnant.
Lying, Your Honor.
Come back. You didn't come back when you was supposed to be 4 months.
I went to the doctor. I went to Planned Parenthood, the clinic, P-test done, and the lady asked me when was my last menstrual cycle. I gave her a date, and she went off the date based on
2 months off?
when I told.
You thought soap operas were good? This one's a kicker. They argue over a doctor's visit that might not have even happened. Because, get this, the clinic had moved months ago. Miss Powell insists it was just lunchtime.
She tell me she needs to go to the doctor, so tell her I'll go with her. And we get to the doctor say they closed and they moved. They've been gone for a minute. And she's telling me, even though they said they've been gone 3 months, she was in this doctor 2 weeks ago. How does that make sense?
So the doctor's office says
she said she was there 2 weeks ago. When we get to there's a sign on the door saying they moved to another address 3 months ago.
Crank up the drama dial. At Joshun's birth, Tarver was there but wouldn't sign the birth certificate or give his last name to the kiddo. Because get this, he didn't want to be on the hook for child support. Miss Powell is livid, accusing him of bailing the second their son was born.
Because you didn't want me to.
He did not sign the birth certificate. He said he didn't want his name on that. Give my son his last name because he didn't want me to put him on child support. That's what he told me, and he left.
I named him.
Why wouldn't I give him your last name if I let you name him?
I wrote the whole thing down. Why would I give him my name and my brother name together and not give him my last name? She wanted me to leave because she was on the phone with her boyfriend.
You're not going to believe this. Ms. Jones, Tarver's fiance, steps up and throws another wrench into the works, hinting that maybe there are more dads in the picture than just Tarver. The courtroom's buzzing with whispers and side eyes.
Ms. Jones, you are
his fiance.
Mr. Tarver, fiance.
Yes.
So, ma'am, what do you know about this situation?
To be honest, they say that multiple people was claiming her baby at the time.
You don't even know me. I heard many things about you too.
Multiple people are saying that her child is theirs.
Yes, 2 other people.
Here it comes, the moment of truth.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Tarver, you are Joshun's father.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted as well.
So, we're kicking off with Miss Wilson, throwing some heavy shade. She claims Mr. Phillips couldn't stay faithful to a Wi-Fi network, let alone her, and is adamant that he still swoons over his ex-wife. Despite the cheating circus, he's adamant about proving he's the dad of little Hope with a paternity test.
Always unfaithful to you and still holds a flame for his ex-wife. Yet you claim he is the one who's always accused you of cheating, fathering your daughter. Oh, you are requesting the results of a paternity test to prove he is indeed biological father.
Wait for it, Mr. Phillips swings back. He's convinced Miss Wilson wasn't just working late, but playing house with her coworker, who he's sure fathered her toddler. He points out that the kid is a spitting image of the other guy, not him.
You believe that Ms. Wilson had sexual relations with a coworker, and it is he who fathered her 2-year-old daughter. Just like that man, Mr. Garcia, has also been tested and us in court shortly.
And here's a flashback to simpler times. Not. Miss Wilson reminisces about their casual start, which was all about Netflix and chill, minus the Netflix. She lays it out that a fling based purely on booty calls set them up for a trust-free, accusation-packed thrill ride. Next up, watch how this casual fling turns into a full-blown telenovela.
Just having sex, when you build a relationship like
That's pretty together. So it started off as a non-committal sexual relationship.
Correct. Of course, you're gonna have extreme trust issues. 7 years later, it was you couldn't go to the store without
someone else having sex or doing something.
Oh boy, here comes the club drama. Mr. Phillips recounts a supposedly scandalous night out where Miss Wilson was allegedly turning the heat up with some random dude. According to him, she was practically auditioning for a tango contest right there in the club.
During that point in time, she led me to believe that I was the only man that she was sexually involved with. One of my friends was inside the club with her, making love in the club. She was tongue kissing, she was grappling to the 10 with a guy. Tongue all in the mouth, holding down.
Just when it feels like Cheaters Live Edition, the judge swoops in. She reminds everyone that they're not here to hand out relationship advice, but to figure out who's Hope's daddy.
Cheating is not cheating court, it's paternity court. Why while you were in a relationship or while you were not. It's about determining so whether it's in the relationship or out of the relationship still could be relevant.
Right,
It is
I
relevant.
understand, it is.
Things get a smidge serious here. Guess what they found in the closet? Ex-wife memorabilia. That's right, Miss Wilson stumbles upon a stash of old love letters and photos, sparking a whole new level of drama.
We will leave everything behind. I had my baby probably about 2 months or a month after we moved in, so I didn't really, in the new place, in our closet.
It was things that I did not know.
Her shoes, I mean, just so much stuff. So I came to him and I asked him, can you get rid of her stuff?
Enter stage left, Mr. Garcia, a co-worker wrapped up in this mess. He strolls into court and his testimony about just showing her how to kiss is sitcom gold. Hold on to your seats because Mr. Garcia's got some tricks up his sleeve.
You were with Ms. Wilson in the club, that you were kissing in the club.
I was.
Were
we
you
weren't
kissing?
She was showing me how to kiss.
I'm a good teacher.
And she really showed me how to kiss.
So you were at school getting a lesson.
That is correct, Your Honor.
You won't believe this bombshell. Mr. Garcia is gay. That's right. The man everyone thought was the father throws a curveball that leaves Jaws on the floor. As the dust settles, get ready for another twist that's straight out of a daytime drama.
I'm gay, so I can't be the father.
Well, that would be a material fact.
I thought he was a regular. Now I believe he's a bisexual friend. If you're attracted to me, because that's what I was under the influence of believing in the beginning, where I was betrayed.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Mr. Phillip, you are her father.
Can you believe this mess? Ms. Reeves pops into court to claim Mr. Silva is the baby daddy of her kiddo. Legend, Silva's all, nope, not me. They've been doing this dance for 3 years, with Silva dodging daddy duties like a pro. This DNA drama has turned their love life into an on-again, off-again soap opera, pushing them to get a test to see if they can stop the bickering and move on.
You are here today to prove that the defendant, Mr. Silva, is the biological father of your 7-month-old son. You were involved in a paternity case on Love and Hip Atlanta in support of your sister, who took a DNA test to prove paternity of her child, because you say there is absolutely no way you are the biological father of plaintiff's son.
Holy moly, did you catch that? Ms. Reeves spills the beans on how Silva's doubt game has her emotional roller coaster doing loops. Silva, meanwhile, is stuck in the past, thinking guys can play the field, but ladies can't. It's all about double standards and denial with this guy.
Well, it's affected everything in my life. We've been on and off for about 3 years. Every single time I turn around, it's always, oh, are you sure that he's my baby? Yes, I'm 100% sure. Like, why do you keep asking me? So I feel like the best way for us to be able to do this, for us to go ahead and get a DNA test, make sure that Legend is the biological son for him.
So you have doubts as well?
No, I don't have doubts, but he does.
Did he really just say that? Court turns into a medieval drama when Silva starts spouting stuff about men being born rulers and conquerors. Like, what century are we in, dude? The judge isn't having any of it and throws some serious shade his way. Keep your eyes peeled. The next scene is a doozy.
You aren't the only man that feels like that.
Well, Your Honor,
Feels like that.
God created men to conquer, to overrule. A woman cannot empower men.
What are we on, Game of Thrones? What are we talking about? First of all, you said God created men to conquer,
To
and
rule,
what else?
conquer, and woman
To
cannot,
rule.
cannot power.
You're ridiculous.
Brace yourselves for this twist. After a breakup, Ms. Reeves finds out she's expecting and tells Silva, who immediately goes into doubt mode because they were on a break. Cue the suspicion as he discovers she's changed her phone password. Trust issues much? The plot thickens, so stay tuned.
Well, we was broken up at the time. Immediately, as soon as I told him that I was pregnant, he was like, okay, with who?
We were broken up for 4 weeks, Your Honor. I caught her texting her ex. I caught them texting multiple times. She claims they're just friends. One day, I just decided to try to go in her phone, and she changed her password on me. She was in the bathroom when I was trying to get in there, and I thought I typed it in wrong. Tried 2-3 more times until it locked me out.
Grab your popcorn, folks. As the baby's due date approaches, Silva's still on the fence about fatherhood, but shows up at the birth to keep things cool. He signs the birth certificate, but feels pressured by her family's stink eyes. You won't believe what's next. It's a real cliffhanger.
Throughout the whole time, I'm telling her I want a DNA test. In the hospital, none but her family was there. I was by myself. I came in. As soon as the Legend was born, the doctor came in the room straight to me and gave me the paper. I didn't want to make her look bad.
So you signed the birth certificate?
Yes, I felt pressure to sign.
And if you start talking about DNA test and not birth certificate, it sheds a negative light on her.
This is too much. They're both itching for the DNA results, hoping it'll end their constant squabbling. Silva's fingers are crossed for good news, while Reeves dreads the possibility of being left in the lurch. Fasten your seatbelts, because the results are about to drop, and you won't want to miss this bombshell.
You have a chance to be honest about that in this moment. before we go to the result?
Yeah, I don't have any doubts. I'm just a little bit upset if he feels like he's not his and he doesn't want to be with me anymore. I feel like with or without Legend, our relationship is, you know, we can make it be good the way that it was. Like if we didn't have a baby, it's that him saying like, hey, well, if we didn't have a baby, we wouldn't be together right now.
Are you ready for this reveal?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Silva, you are the father.
Can you believe this opener? Mr. Wilson kicks things off by lamenting about his almost over marriage, pointing fingers at his wife's lax attitude towards cheating. He claims fidelity to her seems more like a suggestion rather than a rule, setting the stage for a tumultuous episode.
Mr. Wilson, you are on the verge of a divorce because your wife believes that fidelity is optional. You say that during your marriage, she cheated on you with both friend exes, which you believe resulted in the birth of her son, 8-month-old Waylon. You say you are not his biological father, and you intend to prove that today.
Plot twist alert. Mrs. Wilson fesses up to her side adventures, but insists Mr. Wilson is indeed Waylon's dad, accusing him of dodging diaper duty by playing the doubt card. Hold on to your popcorn. Her next line is a doozy.
Mrs. Wilson, while you admit to stepping out on your husband, you claim Mr. Wilson knows full well he is baby Waylon's father and is only denying him in an attempt to shirk his responsibilities.
Here's where it gets spicy. The crowd gasps as Mr. Wilson delves into the early days of deception, going back to when their romance began. He recounts a tale of a suspiciously large Vicky explained away as an innocent bump by the dog. Keep watching. The excuses get even wilder.
She is a cheater. She's cheated from 2 weeks of us being together in the beginning. There was a time when we got in an argument. She told me to leave. I left for one night. I came back. The next morning, she was begging me to come back. There was a hickey on her neck about the size of a baseball. She said that her dog had jumped off the bed and the nose of her dog hit her in the neck.
It's getting hot in here. The conversation heats up with Mrs. Wilson, admitting she wasn't the only one stepping out. Mr. Wilson was playing the field too. Their blame game hints at a marriage more tangled than headphone cords.
All that is true, he also cheated. He did the same thing. He's not innocent. He wants to act like he's not Waylon's daddy, and he is.
But you understand that the reason why we're here is because of the paternity of your baby. If you're gonna do the tit for tat, if you're gonna do the back, because we've got a baby now 8 months old, we don't know for certain who his father is.
Grab your tissues, folks. Mr. Wilson shares a sob story about Valentine's Day gone wrong when he discovers through a relative's boyfriend that his wife planned to leave him after he shows up with flowers.
On Valentine's Day, I went and bought her some flowers. We were gonna meet at a family member's house of mine. I got there before she did, and my family member's boyfriend at the time had told me that she was there a couple days before Valentine's Day, telling them that she was gonna leave me that following Friday. So I felt stupid.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, Mr. Wilson finds texts between his wife and his buddy, exposing an affair right after the Valentine's debacle. The plot thickens and the tea is piping hot.
So I get on social media thinking it's my social media. It was still logged in his stuff, thinking I'm in mine, and I'm reading messages that I know I didn't send. And it was her and him texting, her telling him to ask if he could borrow my car so he could come see her. So I call her and I ask her about it, and she says she didn't say anything. She just hung up.
When did this happen?
Maybe 3 weeks.
So did you start sleeping with your husband's friend?
Yes, I did.
Oh boy, here she goes. Mrs. Wilson drops the bombshell that she did, in fact, sleep with Mr. Wilson's friend, lining up a little too perfectly with baby Waylon's conception timeline. But hold the phone, there's more scandal coming up.
We ended up getting into a fight, and I ended up leaving. They stayed together after that.
And now you believe he is Waylon's biological father. Ms. Wilson, you testified that this started with the friend in April.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's look at the conception dates and see what's going on here.
Cue the dramatic music. As they hash out when Waylon was conceived, Mrs. Wilson half admits Mr. Wilson might not be the dad after all. This admission is a game change. Watch out for the next bombshell. It's a biggie.
There is a possibility. I'm not sit here and act like there's not, but chances of him being the other person's a friend is slim.
So after you hear that testimony, Mr. Wilson, in fact, April 1st to April 7th is the window of time that Waylon was conceived. Do you have a relationship with Waylon?
No, Your Honor. The whole time going through her pregnancy, she was with him.
And here's the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Wilson, you are the father.
Can you even handle this? Mr. Hooks is up in arms, saying Ms. Payne has been on his case for 3 years, accusing him of being the dad of her kiddo, Neve. He's pretty sure today's test results will let him shake off her claims once and for all. The court's heating up, folks, and you won't believe the zingers that come next.
Mr. Hook, you say for 3 long years the defendant, Ms. Payne, has been falsely accusing you of fathering her 3-year-old daughter, Neve. I believe today's results will finally free you from her allegation.
Hold on to your coffee, because Ms. Hooks just threw some serious serious shade. She's calling Ms. Payne a gold digger, thinking she's after her son's non-existent riches. He's 27 years her senior. The crowd's gasping like they just saw a ghost, setting up a showdown that's juicier than a daytime soap.
Ms. Hook, you say your son is being taken advantage of by a gold digger who is 27 years his junior. Ms. Payne, you say Mr. Hooks is Nevaeh's father, and today you intend to prove it to him and his mommy.
You've got to hear this. When Ms. Hooks asks her son about his finances, he spills the beans. He's flat broke. So much for being a gold mine, right? This twist adds a splash of humor to the drama, making everyone chuckle. But hang tight, the revelations are just getting started.
I'm struggling, y'all. I don't have no money.
But what you thought, you're saying you thought, she probably thought since you were an older man established, it would be somebody that could take care of her. Ain't a gold digger if you ain't got no gold.
This is too good. Ms. Payne looks like she's about to burst as the judge digs deeper, trying to get her to spill her guts. Her hesitance adds an extra layer of suspense to the mix, making everyone lean in closer. You just know something big's about to drop, and trust me, it's worth the wait.
What are you feeling in this moment? I can see in your eyes.
You accuse my son of being the father of your child, and I know he's not the father of your child. Your child don't look nothing like my son. My son had 5 children, and they all look like him, and they got some of me.
You won't believe how these two met. It's straight out of a quirky rom-com. Mr. Hooks paints a picture of a fateful encounter that turned into an instant live-in situation. This backstory adds some real spice to the episode, hinting at a whirlwind of poor decisions. Buckle up because the roller coaster is just taking off.
I met her June in 2014. I was driving and I was going to a deli store, and I happened to see her on the corner like sipping on a margarita. So I started to talking to her. I was like, why you out here by yourself sipping on that? And she was like, she with her boyfriend. I said, he's okay seeing you talking to me? She told me that she just got into a fight, an argument with her boyfriend, another man. So I said, well, you want to come take a ride with me?
Talk about moving fast. Mr. Hooks and Ms. Payne went from strangers to housemates in a blink. It's like they were trying to set a speed record for the fastest relationship progression ever. Their impulsive life choices are the gift that keeps on giving in this courtroom saga. Stay tuned because the plot thickens even more.
Is this true? Is this how you and Mr. Hooks met?
Yes, Your Honor.
So did this turn into a relationship after this? You have this one day, was it a one-night stand, or did you see each other again?
No, he let me move in with him the next day.
Meet him at the store, you have sex with him at his house, and then he says you can move in with him.
Whoa, plot twist. Another guy's name is on Nevaeh's birth certificate, not Mr. Hooks. This bombshell sends ripples through the courtroom, cranking up the drama to new heights. Everyone's jaws hit the floor, and you can bet your bottom dollar the next twist is just around the corner.
You submitted Nevaeh's birth certificate to the court, and under her name, there is a father's name. We blurred it out, but that's your ex's name.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that tells you I'm not the father.
Tells me you ain't got no business going out with a young girl that's not even mature enough to come in this courtroom, testify, not for her 3-week-old child, her 3-year-old child.
Judge Lake isn't pulling any punches today. She lays into Mr. Hooks for his questionable life choices that led them all here. Her scolding is like a sitcom roast, except it's real life, and there's a kid involved. The tension is palpable, and just when you think it can't get any more intense, the climax is up next. Get ready for the big reveal.
The problem about meeting somebody at the store, 5 minutes, inviting them into your car, taking them back to your house, and having unprotected sex with them, a young woman who's just 5 years away from being a child. You have other things you could be doing with your time and with your life.
Yes.
Here it comes, a big moment.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hook, you are the father.